We are Social Blade.
What Twitter has announced is they're going to be donating the entire archive of every single tweet since they were created or they started the service back in 2006 to the Library of Congress. So
Wow,
every single
they're doing them
tweet.
a huge favor. I guess my question is,
really,
what's the point? Yeah, what's the point? I mean, they're going to have millions and millions of tweets about people, taking a crap. And I mean, what value does that add to the Library of Congress, though? That's my question.
That's a very relevant question there. I would say that, a lot of it doesn't necessarily say anything altogether useful, but it does give insight into our culture here. And that
agreed.
Totally.
Yeah, because
totally.
I mean, wouldn't you? All right, just think about this. If there was Twitter or something back in caveman days, we'd know exactly what they were doing then when we were trying to study history and looking back. 2,000 years from now, people will actually be able to see exactly what we were talking about.
I would even go so far as to say not even 2,000 years from now. I'd say 2 years from now.
2 years
or less.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
It's something that can really be, even think about the 60s. What if we had tweets in the 60s and we could look back? Now imagine this, not so much, all this compiled data, blah, blah, blah. Right now we can't do a whole lot with it, but imagine in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 6 months, who knows how long it's going to take, but at some point they're going to be able to take this data and have truly amazing basically results or bring out information about cultures, predictive styles, things we talked about that last week, how the data, even in its infancy of being compiled and understood, it still is just a wealth of knowledge. And I agree with Victor. Don't get me wrong. I think it's like well, okay, thank you for giving us. It's kind of like a bad Christmas gift. You open it up and it's that really ugly sweater with a reindeer on it, and you're like, oh, thank you, Auntie. I love it. I'm sure that the government's thinking, okay, thanks. Great. We've got 180 billion tweets. This is I don't know what to do. Call Obama. Tell him to cut taxes all across the board. Now that we have these tweets, everything's fixed. No, okay. So that's not the case, but you're both right. So I'm going to agree with everybody. Jeff, what do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty interesting in the fact that everyone kept saying, Twitter might not be here in a few years. Twitter might be going away. But think about the importance of, forming your brand or picturing your brand in 140 characters. I mean, that's what it's going to be in the future, is people are going to look back and, what was your brand in 140 characters? Who were you in 140 characters? And it really makes it, it cements Twitter. I mean, it really does. It's one of those things where if we're going to be looking in the future at tweets, Twitter's not going to go away for a long time.
I guess, I thought about it for a split second, and, this is actually genius. I mean, if civilization collapses, what's left? Hey, we have all these tweets. I mean, we can tap back into the era when, Shaq and Oprah were tweeting, and, the day Coco got on Twitter. I mean, these are important landmarks of the foundation of our society, and I understand the importance of it. No, but really, I mean, as an asset to civilization, yeah, I think Twitter does that a lot. It gives people a unique way to express themselves, a unique way to engage with the culture, and so in that sense, maybe there will be a point in the future when, Twitter doesn't exist and it's something else, and, they can look to the Library of Congress and be like, oh, that was a great time in history, that was a great time for technology, maybe, we'll see.
That's what I was going to say, too. Like, what if Twitter just does disappear one of these days and it becomes our, cassette tapes and we've upgraded to something else? It'll be nice to have that archived.
Invading the internet, covering Web 2.0, coast to coast, worldwide, and everywhere in between. This is where you put the social in social media. We are Social Blade.